The sea is a vast and powerful force. It offers pathways for trade and travel, yet it holds immense danger. Ships, no matter how large, are mere specks on its surface. They face unpredictable weather and hidden hazards. Maritime safety is a constant struggle against these elements. Every voyage carries a risk. Technology has improved, and navigation is more precise, but the ocean's raw power remains untamed. When accidents happen, they can be swift and devastating. The consequences ripple outwards, affecting lives, economies, and the environment itself. This truth was brought home once more just yesterday. The Arabian Sea, a historic route for mariners, is no stranger to such events. Its waters connect continents, seeing a constant flow of vessels. Cargo ships, tankers, and fishing boats crisscross its expanse daily. Each vessel operates under an umbrella of regulations aiming to prevent disaster, yet the sea often has the final say. Mechanical failures occur, human error plays a part, and sometimes the sheer force of the water overwhelms even the sturdiest of ships. The story of the MSC Elsa III is a stark reminder of this enduring battle. The MSC Elsa III was a Liberian-flagged cargo ship. It was a substantial vessel, measuring 184 meters in length. Operated by the well-known MSC line, it was part of the global fleet that keeps commerce moving. On May 24, 2025, the ship was on a relatively short journey. It was en route to Cochin from Visakhapatnam, both key ports in Kerala, India. The vessel was carrying a variety of containers. Its journey seemed routine. The waters of the Arabian Sea were familiar to its experienced crew. The ship maintained a steady speed of 11.7 knots as it neared its destination. The expected arrival time at Cochin port was 4:30 p.m. on that Saturday. The crew was likely preparing for docking procedures. The voyage was nearing its end. However, the sea had other plans. At approximately 1:25 p.m. Indian Standard Time, something went terribly wrong. The ship's company sent an urgent message to the Indian authorities. They reported that the MSC Elsa III was listing. This meant the vessel was tilting dangerously to one side. This occurred when the ship was about 38 nautical miles southwest of the Cochin coast. It was perilously close to its destination, a mere 30 minutes from scheduled docking. The news of a large cargo ship in distress so close to the coast sent immediate ripples of concern. The Indian Coast Guard was alerted. The Indian Navy was informed. The proximity to land meant that any serious incident could have direct consequences for the Kerala coastline. The nature of a list is inherently dangerous for any vessel, especially a container ship. The stability of such ships depends on the careful balance of their cargo. A significant tilt can quickly escalate. It can lead to containers shifting, or worse, falling overboard. This shift in weight can exacerbate the list, creating a perilous feedback loop. The initial report was stark. The ship was in trouble. The exact cause of the list was not immediately clear. Was it a shift in cargo? Was it a hull breach leading to flooding, or was it a combination of factors? These questions would need answers, but the immediate priority was the safety of the 24 souls aboard the MSC Elsa III. The calm of a Saturday afternoon was shattered by this maritime emergency. The situation aboard the MSC Elsa III deteriorated rapidly. The initial report of a list soon painted a more alarming picture. The vessel had developed a severe and dangerous 26-degree list. For a ship of its size, laden with containers, such an angle is critical. It pushes the vessel far beyond its normal operating parameters. The immense forces at play would have been terrifying for those on board. The deck, normally a horizontal platform, would have become a steep, treacherous slope. Alarms would be blaring. The crew would be scrambling to understand the cause and to mitigate the escalating danger. This severe tilt had immediate consequences for the cargo. Gravity, now an enemy, began to pull at the stacks of containers. Reports confirmed that around 10 containers broke free from their lashings. They tumbled from the deck of the listing ship. They crashed into the waters of the Arabian Sea. These were not empty boxes. They contained cargo, some of it potentially hazardous. Each container lost overboard became a new, uncontrolled threat. They could be navigation hazards for other vessels. Their contents could spill and pollute the marine environment. The loss of these containers also further destabilized the MSC Elsa III. Conflicting reports emerged in the initial chaos, a common feature of fast-moving emergencies. One report suggested the vessel had capsized entirely. This would have represented the worst-case scenario. It would have meant a massive debris field and a desperate search for survivors in the water. Thankfully, other reports, which later proved more accurate, indicated the ship had listed severely but was still afloat. It was in urgent need of assistance. The distinction was crucial. A listing ship, however precarious, still offered a chance for stabilization and salvage. A capsized ship often means a total loss, with far greater environmental and human costs. The master of the MSC Elsa III and the crew faced an incredibly challenging situation. Decisions made in these moments could mean the difference between survival and catastrophe. The ship's structure was under immense stress. The distress of the MSC Elsa III was compounded by a significant concern: the nature of its cargo. Container ships often carry a wide variety of goods. Some are benign, while others can be dangerous if released into the environment. It was confirmed that the MSC Elsa III was carrying hazardous materials. Specifically, the vessel's manifest included significant quantities of marine gas oil and very low sulfur fuel oil, VLSFO. These are essential fuels for maritime operations. However, when spilled, they pose a serious threat to marine ecosystems. The ship itself used these fuels, and it's likely some of the containers also held such substances or other chemicals. The precise quantities of these hazardous materials at risk were alarming. Reports indicated the ship was carrying 367.1 metric tons of very low sulfur fuel oil. Additionally, it had 84.4 metric tons of marine gas oil. While these fuels were part of the ship's operational supply, the instability of the vessel and the loss of containers raised fears. If the ship's own fuel tanks were breached, or if containers holding such substances were damaged, a significant spill was possible. The 10 containers that fell into the sea were of particular concern. Their exact contents were initially unconfirmed by the Coast Guard, adding to the uncertainty and the environmental anxieties. The potential for an oil spill triggered immediate environmental protocols. Oil, whether VLSFO or marine gas oil, is toxic to marine life. It can coat birds and marine mammals, destroying their insulation and buoyancy. It can smother shellfish beds and contaminate fish stocks. The economic impact on coastal communities, particularly those reliant on fishing and tourism, can be devastating. The Kerala coast is known for its rich biodiversity and its vibrant fishing industry. The prospect of these fuels leaking into its waters was a nightmare scenario for environmental agencies and local populations alike. The drifting containers, their contents unknown, were like unexploded ordnance. Section 5. Environmental Tremors. A coastline on alert. The news that containers laden with potentially hazardous materials were adrift in the Arabian Sea sent environmental alarms ringing. The primary concern was the potential for these containers to leak. If they held marine gas oil, VLSFO, or other dangerous substances, the impact on the marine environment could be severe. These containers were now subject to the whims of ocean currents and winds. They were unguided missiles, posing a threat to any coastline they might approach. The Kerala coast, with its delicate ecosystems and dense population, was directly in the potential path of this pollution. Particular concern was voiced for the Thiruvananthapuram and Kasaragod seashores. The Kerala State Disaster Management Authority, or KSDMA, acted swiftly. They issued a public safety alert. This was a crucial step in mitigating harm. The public was strongly advised to avoid any contact with containers or patches of oil that might wash ashore. Such materials could be toxic or cause injury. The KSDMA urged citizens to report any sightings immediately. They provided contact information for the nearest coastal police station. They also highlighted the emergency number 112 for urgent reports. This proactive communication aimed to turn the eyes of the entire coastal population into a monitoring network. Fishermen, beachgoers, and coastal residents were all put on high alert. The threat was multifaceted. Section 6. Human lives in the balance, the cruise ordeal. Aboard the listing MSC Elsa III, the 24 crew members faced a life-threatening ordeal. The ship, their workplace and temporary home, had suddenly become a dangerous, unstable platform. The severe 26-degree list would have made movement treacherous. Simple tasks would become monumental challenges. The primary instinct in such a situation is survival. The crew was a diverse international group. It comprised one Russian national who served as the master of the vessel. There were also 20 Filipinos, 2 Ukrainians, and 1 Georgian. These individuals, from different corners of the world, were united by their profession and now by a shared crisis. As the situation worsened, decisions about abandoning ship had to be made. Initial reports indicated that 9 crew members had managed to get into life rafts. This is a standard emergency procedure when a vessel is deemed unsafe. Life rafts are designed to provide temporary refuge until rescue arrives. However, abandoning a large ship in open water is itself a risky maneuver. The sea can be unforgiving, even to those in survival craft. One report stated that 21 crew members had abandoned ship and were in life rafts. This same report mentioned that rescue operations were ongoing for the remaining 3 crew members who were presumably still on the distressed vessel or in a different situation. Another conflicting account suggested that 15 crew members remained on board the MSC Elsa III. They were awaiting rescue there. Meanwhile, 9 others had already abandoned the ship. These discrepancies are common in the early stages of an emergency. Information flows quickly, sometimes inaccurately. What was clear was that the crew was in peril. Some were in life rafts, exposed to the elements. Others might still be on the heavily listing ship, facing an uncertain immediate future. The anxiety and fear among them must have been immense. Their training would have prepared them for emergencies, but no training can fully replicate the terror of a real-life maritime disaster. The fate of every single crew member was the paramount concern for the rescue authorities. Section 7. Guardians of the Waters, a swift rescue operation. The Indian Coast Guard spearheaded the rescue operations for the crew of the MSC Elsa III. Their response was swift and decisive. Upon learning of the ship's distress and the crew's predicament, the ICG mobilized its assets. Time was of the essence. The lives of 24 seafarers hung in the balance. The ICG deployed its aircraft first. A Dornier aircraft was dispatched to the scene. Its mission was critical, to locate the distressed vessel and any crew members in life rafts. It was also tasked with dropping additional life rafts if needed, providing more survival options for those abandoning ship. This aerial reconnaissance was vital for coordinating the subsequent surface rescue. The Indian Navy also joined the effort, demonstrating interagency cooperation. The Navy deployed one of its ships to assist in the rescue and to provide support at the scene. Simultaneously, the Indian Coast Guard dispatched 2 of its own ships towards the location, approximately 38 nautical miles southwest of Cochin. These vessels were equipped for search and rescue. They carried medical supplies and had trained personnel to handle casualties. The combined efforts of the Coast Guard and Navy created a robust response capability. Their ships and aircraft converged on the area, transforming it into a hub of urgent activity. The goal was clear: to bring all 24 crew members to safety. The coordination of such an operation, involving multiple air and sea assets, is complex. It requires clear communication and precise execution. The ICG took the lead in this coordination. Their experience in handling maritime emergencies in Indian waters was invaluable. Reports confirmed the success of their efforts. All 24 crew members of the MSC Elsa III were successfully rescued. Section 8. The Aftermath, Monitoring and Public Safety. With the crew of the MSC Elsa III safely rescued, attention turned sharply towards managing the aftermath of the incident. The primary concerns were the drifting containers and the potential for environmental pollution. The Kerala State Disaster Management Authority continued to play a crucial role. Their public safety alerts remained active. They reiterated the advice for coastal communities. Residents were urged to stay vigilant. They were told to report any sightings of containers or oil slicks to the authorities immediately. The emergency number 112 and local coastal police stations were the designated points of contact. This community involvement was seen as vital for early detection of any shoreline impact. Coastal monitoring operations were intensified along the Kerala coast. The Indian Coast Guard, along with other relevant agencies, stepped up surveillance. They used aircraft and patrol vessels to track the movement of the 10 containers that had fallen into the sea. Locating these containers in the vast expanse of the Arabian Sea was a significant challenge. Ocean currents and weather conditions could disperse them over a wide area. The authorities were particularly concerned about the containers nearing sensitive coastal zones such as Thiruvananthapuram and Kasaragod. Emergency cleanup teams remained on standby, ready to be deployed if any hazardous materials washed ashore or if an oil spill was detected. The Directorate General of Shipping took charge of the situation regarding the vessel itself. They issued directives for urgent salvage operations. These operations would be conducted in close coordination with the Indian Coast Guard. The immediate goals for the salvage team would be to further stabilize the MSC Elsa III. They would also assess the feasibility of towing it to a safe location. Preventing further pollution from the ship's own fuel tanks was a top priority. The ship, though reported as stable after the initial severe list, remained a concern until it could be secured or safely dealt with. Section 9. Reflections on the water lessons from the MSC Elsa III incident. The accident involving the MSC Elsa III in the Arabian Sea serves as a potent reminder of the inherent risks in maritime transport. Even with advanced technology and stringent safety protocols, the ocean remains a formidable environment. This incident, occurring so close to the Indian coast, highlights the vulnerability of coastal ecosystems and communities to shipping disasters. The swift and successful rescue of all 24 crew members by the Indian Coast Guard and Navy was a significant achievement. It underscores the importance of well-equipped and well-trained maritime search and rescue services. Their coordinated efforts undoubtedly prevented a human tragedy. However, the environmental concerns stemming from the hazardous cargo and lost containers persist. The potential for oil spills and the spread of other dangerous substances necessitates ongoing vigilance and robust response capabilities. The public safety alerts issued by the Kerala State Disaster Management Authority were crucial. They demonstrate the need for clear communication with coastal populations during such crises. The incident will likely prompt a thorough investigation. This investigation will seek to determine the precise cause of the ship's dangerous list. Was it due to cargo misstowage, structural failure, extreme weather, or other factors? The findings will be vital for preventing similar accidents in the future. This event may also lead to renewed discussions about maritime regulations. Are current standards for cargo securing adequate? Are there ways to improve the tracking of lost containers, especially those carrying hazardous materials? How can international cooperation be further strengthened to manage transboundary pollution risks from shipping incidents? These are complex questions that require careful consideration by maritime authorities, shipping companies, and international bodies. The balance between facilitating global trade and protecting the marine environment is a delicate one. Incidents like this one shift the focus sharply onto the protection aspect. Ultimately, the MSC ELSA 3 incident reinforces the need for continuous improvement in maritime safety culture. This includes vessel design, crew training, cargo handling procedures, and emergency response preparedness. The Arabian Sea will continue to be a vital artery for global shipping. The lessons learned from this near catastrophe off the Kerala coast must be integrated into practices that make these waters safer for seafarers and cleaner for the planet.